Welcome to Bible Mysteries channel. We are here to share amazing stories from the Old and New Testaments, from Genesis to Revelation. Here, we embark on an enlightening journey through the sacred scriptures, delving into the timeless narratives, lessons, and profound wisdom encapsulated within these revered texts. Before we delve in, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel to never miss an update when we post new videos. In the heart of the ancient city of Jerusalem, where the winding streets echoed with tales of prophets, and the scent of spices lingered in the air, Jesus and his disciples converged in the upper room for a meal that would resonate through the corridors of time. The sun, in its descent below the horizon, bathed the city in hues of gold, casting a warm and ethereal glow upon the historic setting. The upper room, with its weathered stone walls and time-worn wooden beams, bore witness to centuries of stories, but this particular evening held a sacred weight. The disciples, a diverse group of individuals with varied backgrounds and experiences, gathered around a low table adorned with simple provisions: a loaf of unleavened bread, a cluster of grapes, and a carafe of deep red wine. The room, dimly lit by the flickering flames of oil lamps, created an intimate setting for what would soon be revealed as a sacred moment in history. Jesus, with a serene countenance and eyes that held both sorrow and love, sat at the center of the gathering. His disciples, a diverse group of individuals, looked to him with a mix of reverence and curiosity. The air hummed with unspoken questions, and a palpable sense of destiny hung over the room. A simple meal lay before them: bread and wine, symbols that would transcend the ordinary and become vessels of profound significance. Jesus, understanding the weight of the impending events, took the unleavened bread in his hands. With a gaze that penetrated the depths of each disciple's soul, he spoke words that would echo through the corridors of time. "This is my body, broken for you," Jesus uttered, his voice carrying a gravity that reverberated in the hearts of those who listened. As the disciples partook of the bread, a solemn awareness settled over them. In that moment, the ordinary became extraordinary, and the act of sharing a meal with their beloved teacher transcended the confines of tradition. Next, Jesus lifted a cup of wine, a deep red liquid that mirrored the hues of a setting sun. "This is my blood, poured out for the forgiveness of sins," he declared, the weight of his words echoing in the chamber. The disciples, their eyes fixed on Jesus, sipped from the communal cup. The wine, a symbol of sacrifice and renewal, passed from hand to hand, forging a connection between the divine and the human. As the Last Supper unfolded in the upper room, the atmosphere resonated with a mixture of tenderness and solemnity. The disciples, still lingering in the warmth of the shared bread and wine, found themselves drawn into the depths of Jesus' teachings. With an air of humility that characterized his every gesture, Jesus rose from his place at the table. The disciples, accustomed to the societal norms of that time, watched in awe as their revered teacher, the embodiment of divine wisdom, began to disrobe and gather a basin of water. In a powerful symbol of humility and service, Jesus knelt before each disciple, gently washing their feet. The room, which had moments ago been filled with the aromas of the shared meal, now carried the scent of water and the earthiness of well-worn sandals. The disciples, their hearts stirred by the unexpected act of servitude, looked into the eyes of their teacher with a newfound understanding of leadership grounded in selflessness. As Jesus dried their feet with a simple cloth, he spoke words that would echo through the annals of time. "If I then, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also ought to wash one another's feet. For I have given you an example, that you should do as I have done to you." The echoes of his words lingered in the air, a call to embrace humility and compassion in the service of others. Seated once again at the table, Jesus spoke of love and unity. His words, laden with a depth of meaning that transcended the immediate circumstances, resonated with the disciples' hearts. He implored them to love one another as he had loved them, emphasizing, a love that surpassed the boundaries of societal expectations and norms. As the night deepened and the Last Supper unfolded its layers of meaning, the disciples departed from the upper room, each step carrying with it the weight of the sacred moments they had shared. Little did they know that the teachings imparted in those hallowed hours would become a source of strength, guidance, and enduring hope in the tumultuous events that awaited them in the unfolding drama of Jesus' betrayal, arrest, and crucifixion. The dimly lit upper room bore witness to a moment of profound revelation as Jesus, in the deepening night, addressed his disciples with a heaviness in his voice. The air, pregnant with anticipation, grew dense as he uttered the shocking truth that nestled like a thorn in the hearts of those gathered. Betrayal loomed among them. The faces of the disciples, previously illuminated by the soft glow of lamp flames, now bore the weight of sorrow etched across their features. An unspoken tension gripped the room as each disciple grappled with the unsettling revelation. The camaraderie that had characterized the evening now gave way to a somber stillness. Judas, his eyes avoiding the penetrating gaze of his teacher, felt the weight of guilt settle upon him. The room seemed to close in around him as the weight of his impending betrayal pressed upon his conscience. Uncomfortable glances exchanged among the disciples betrayed a collective struggle to comprehend the unfolding tragedy. As Jesus continued to share the gravity of the moment, Judas, unable to bear the intensity of the atmosphere, rose from his place and slipped away into the night. His departure was subtle, a silent movement in the shadows that would set in motion the chain of events leading to Jesus' arrest. The door creaked softly as Judas left the upper room, the gravity of his actions echoing in the quiet space he vacated. The night outside embraced him with an eerie stillness, mirroring the turmoil within his conflicted soul. He navigated the labyrinthine streets of Jerusalem, guided by the dim light of a flickering lamp and the haunting awareness of the choice he had made. The moments following Judas' departure were marked by a poignant silence. Jesus, sensing the collective heartache, spoke words of comfort and assurance, urging his disciples to hold fast to the teachings he had imparted. The flickering lamps cast dancing shadows on the walls, creating a visual metaphor for the interplay between light and darkness that characterized the unfolding drama. In the midst of the charged atmosphere in the upper room, where the anticipation of Jesus' impending departure hung like a heavy mist, the sacred gathering took an even more solemn turn. As the disciples leaned in, their hearts already burdened by the revelation of betrayal, Jesus, with a knowing gaze, spoke words that would cast a deeper shadow over the room. "Truly, I tell you, Peter, before the rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times, Jesus uttered, his voice resonating with a mix of sorrow and a prophetic certainty. The weight of those words settled into the chamber, each syllable echoing through the hearts of the disciples like a mournful refrain. Peter, the fervent and impulsive disciple, felt a chill run down his spine. His eyes, locked with the compassionate gaze of his teacher, betrayed a mixture of shock and disbelief. The room, once filled with the warmth of shared communion, now bore witness to a revelation that pierced the very core of Peter's devotion. The impending denial, delivered with a quiet certainty, hung in the air like an unspoken lament. The other disciples, their faces reflecting a spectrum of emotions from concern to confusion, exchanged glances that conveyed an unspoken understanding, a foreboding awareness that the fabric of their close-knit community was about to face a profound test. In those charged moments, as the gravity of Jesus' words settled into the hearts of those gathered, a heavy silence enveloped the room. The flickering lamps, casting shifting shadows, seemed to mirror the tumultuous emotions that now coursed through the disciples. Peter, grappling with the weight of the prophecy, found his voice as he protested, "Even if I must die with you, I will not deny you." His fervent declaration, though sincere, carried with it a tinge of desperate resolve in an attempt to shield himself from the harsh reality of the impending trial. The room, now tinged with a mixture of sorrow and unwavering loyalty, stood witness to a moment that foreshadowed the impending drama. Jesus, with a gentle yet sorrowful countenance, met Peter's gaze with a deep understanding of the internal struggle within his impulsive disciple. The revelation of Peter's impending denial became a poignant refrain in the symphony of the Last Supper, a dissonant chord that added complexity to the narrative. The disciples, their hearts heavy with the weight of betrayal and denial, now faced not only the shadows of their own humanity, but also the inexorable march toward the crucible of trials that awaited them in the unfolding drama of Jesus' arrest and crucifixion. As the Last Supper continued in the hushed sanctum of the upper room, a subtle yet palpable tension hung in the air. The impending departure of Jesus, a shadow on the horizon, cast its gloom over the sacred gathering. The flickering oil lamps bathed the chamber in a soft, amber glow, casting a warm yet somber atmosphere. Jesus, aware of the gravity of the moment, began to speak with a foresight that transcended the temporal boundaries of the gathering. His words, laden with a poignant weight, resonated through the chamber like a sacred melody. "Little children, yet a little while I am with you," Jesus uttered, his voice carrying a mixture of tenderness and a profound knowing. The disciples, their eyes fixed on their teacher, felt the weight of those words settle into the recesses of their hearts. The imminent departure, though foretold, became a reality that now hung in the air, casting a shadow over the communion shared in that sacred space. In those moments of disclosure, Jesus delicately wove a tapestry of foresight, preparing his disciples for the turbulent days that would soon unfold. He spoke of trials and tribulations, the tempests that would buffet their faith like fierce winds. Each word carried a prescient understanding of the challenges that awaited them, both as individuals and as a collective community bound by a shared journey. The necessity of faith, a thread woven intricately into the fabric of Jesus' teachings, became a central focus of his discourse. He urged the disciples to anchor themselves in faith when faced with the storms of adversity, emphasizing that their belief in the divine plan would be the compass guiding them through the tumultuous sea of challenges. "Let not your hearts be troubled," Jesus assured them, his gaze filled with both compassion and a profound knowing. He spoke of a place prepared for them, a dwelling in the Father's house, offering a vision of eternal hope that transcended the temporal challenges they would soon face. The disciples, their minds grappling with the weight of Jesus' words, absorbed the teachings that would sustain them in the tumultuous days ahead. The upper room, now infused with the lingering echoes of humility, service, and the promise of eternal love, stood as a sanctuary where the disciples had been initiated into a deeper understanding of the divine plan. As the night deepened, the atmosphere in the upper room shifted from sorrow to a profound sense of purpose. The disciples, their hearts heavy yet fortified by the words of their teacher, left the chamber with a resolve that would carry them through the challenging days that lay ahead. The betrayal of that night, a painful prelude to the crucifixion, would become a testament to the resilience of faith and the transformative power of love that would ultimately define the course of history.